The Sonic sunglasses are back. Yay. That's amazing. Yay. Well, this episode is sort of like last week's episode. Meh. Now, the writer, Catherine Tregenna, she did okay this time in Doctor Who, but I know she can do better. Like, she's written for Torchwood, she's written Out of Time and Captain Jack Harkness, which are amazing stories. Meet, which was sort of like the last two episodes, meh, and Adam, which was okay. So she can do good. She can do well. It's just I don't think she's suited for writing for Doctor Who. Like, she can write for Captain Jack Harkness with Captain Jack, which again is immortal and he goes through torment as well, and you find that out in Adam. So it's quite interesting how when you introduce sort of the element of the Doctor and the space and time travel, it sort of goes down a notch. Like, the thing that Captain Jack Harkness and Out of Time had in common, there weren't really much, like, alien attacks. Like, it was main focus was the people. And then Meet, which was probably a worse or a weakest Torchwood story, introduced the alien aspect, which sort of brings it along the lines of The Woman Who Lived. And Adam, yeah, it's when she introduced the aliens and the complex plot of what they want to do, is when she really struggles. But to Doctor Who, this episode is the standard companion light episode of the series. So this is how it works. You get a companion light episode. Now sooner or later we'll get a Doctor Light episode. So is this one of the best companion light episodes? No, not really. Like, there are better ones, but this, I'm not sure whether it knows where to go. Like, two different writers wrote this one and last week, and I'm not sure they're entirely connected. Like, a shielder, played by Maisie Williams, who now calls herself Me, and everybody else calls herself Me. That's just stupid. But to the cast, Peter Capaldi is the Doctor. He does brilliant as always. He knows how to deliver the comedy and the drama, which is good in this sort of episode because it needs the comedy to break up the whole drama, so it isn't just 45 minutes of them arguing whether to take her on board TARDIS or just leave her. Maisie Williams is a shielder slash me slash the nightmare slash whatever else it was. She does okay. Like, I understand asking an 18-year-old to act like 800 is gonna be difficult, because she's young and stuff. She won't really know, or she might not deliver it as believable as Peter Capaldi does, because obviously he's a lot older. He's been acting a lot longer. He can probably pull it off more. But that's strange. Here's the thing. I found Matt Smith, who was 27 when he was cast, who was the youngest Doctor. He had to act like he was over 900 years old. I believed him more than Maisie Williams. And I think I know why. Because he's an adult, like I know he's not the oldest, but he sort of knows how to act old. Maisie Williams she's not really getting that across. Like, she still seems like that kid in the Viking village, except now she has memories of the Battle of Agincourt and stuff. And she's very angry. The rest of the cast, there isn't much that really make an impact. Clara, Jenna Coleman, she does well for that brief cameo performance, let's be honest. Yeah, she's only there to show the Doctor a selfie of a Shielder in present day, so she may be back. And I'm not sure if they really need to have provided an explanation of why Clara wasn't there, because we expect a companion-like episode at this point. Like, the Reveiw series has been going on for 10 years. Sam Swift, played by Rufus Hound, he's only there for banter. Like, he's like provides some of the comedy to split up the drama bit, and yeah, he does well. I mean, it makes sense to cast a comedian for a comedic role. And I can't help thinking he's a metaphor. Like when he's just doing the stand-up at the end, before he's going to get hanged. I can't help that bit was just there for a metaphor, like he made every second count before his death, and he's so happy to be alive now. You might as well have just written on the screen, he's a metaphor. Now, Leandro, played by Arion Bakar. That's probably how you say it. Yeah, he does well for the fact that he shouldn't really be there. Like, of course, he's covered in makeup, which is really, really well. And the voice, but let's be honest. Just cut Leandro out completely. He doesn't do much. Like, he bursts in and interrupts a really good moment between the Doctor and the Shielder. Then he just goes on about, oh, a death must happen to open a portal. My people. Ugh. And then he attacks people at the end. He doesn't even open the portal, the Shielder does. And then he gets killed. Like, he says one line, gets killed, never mentioned again. So, I feel like he was just the C-grade villain. Like, I'm gonna go on a tangent, but hear me out. This reminds me of many superhero... Like, it was sort of like the new Supergirl TV show that I watched. For the pilots, they have to sort of... For a TV show, they don't have a movie length. So, it's mostly them just getting their powers and becoming said superhero. And most of it was Supergirl setting up all the stuff for later episodes. It's a good TV show, but the villain was more of a villain just get a villain. Like, it's a villain for the sake of she needs somebody to fight. And this is what I think was here. He was a villain just for the sake of being a villain. Like, he didn't really need to be there, but this isn't a superhero show, so you can't really forgive them for that. And in stuff like Doctor Who, it worked in Supergirl and other shows like Arrow and The Flash, because they're superheroes and they can be disposed of easily and killed. And they need a villain to fight. Here, you can't really do that. You can either dispose of them easily, but he just brings the plot to a standstill. Like, he shouldn't be there. And the director, Ed Bazalgette, he's good. Like last week, brilliant. But there's another thing to remind me. All these superhero shows like Arrow and Flash and Supergirl, check them out, but I can't... This episode really reminds me of them. Like, the conversation in the bar... Well, not the bar, but you know what I mean. Between a Shielder and the Doctor at the end when he's like saying, oh, are we enemies again? That reminded me of Oliver's and Malcolm Merlin's discussion at the end of Series 3 of Arrow. Are we enemies again? And then they mention Captain Jack, which automatically makes it even more stronger because John Barrowman plays both characters. And that's what I feel like Captain Jack's going to be reduced to now. Just a few sideways mentions and references because John Barrowman's too busy with Arrow. and I don't think where his character's at, he can't just stop and go over to Doctor Who again, which is a shame. But all this just seemed to be like, I don't get the sense of abandonment that a Shielder does, and we're not even from the Doctor's point of view, because obviously he didn't go straight from the Viking village to here. He spent a few weeks probably dawdling about doing other stuff. And yeah, we have the diary scene with all the tears and the pages teared out. Okay, I get a bit of it, but not completely. And also, I feel like the housebreaking scene was good. Like, it was funny. And all the stuff about discussing Clara and being showing off. And those sonic sunglasses. Such a shame. Such a shame. But anyway, the comedy in this episode, yeah, it's okay. Like the bit with the Doctor trying to get Sam Swift, or stop Sam Swift being hanged. They just have to improvise some stand-up routine. And yeah, and the scene where we first meet Sam Swift and the Doctor goes back to his old punching bag that is Banta. Also, the bit at the start where this makes sense for the Doctor, or this Doctor at least, when he's got his eyes, he needs to do something, so he will ignore everything around him. Like, he totally just walks through the carriage, and Shielder's like, oh, this is my robbery, and he's just like, oh, I'll listen this time. Sorry, what? Because he's getting distracted by his little scanner thing. Anyway, I feel like this has become sort of a weekly thing now with all Doctor Who this series. Anyone who's reviewed it seems to be listing the uses of the sonic sunglasses, seeing whether they're stupid or good. And this week we have using it as a mask, which is good. That makes sense. Also, I feel like the portal thing should have been just a natural phenomenon, like a natural event. The Doctor just came here, accidentally ran into a Shielder, and he needs to stop a natural event. But obviously gets caught up with a Shielder and then they stop it. Because a Shielder's turnaround at the end, it was really forced. Like, she smiles and shoves the amulet into Sam Swift, portal opens. She's practically giving the evil smile, and then she's like, my god, I care, as soon as Leandro starts attacking people. Yeah, that was forced. Like, you could have done something, but no, as soon as, like, this is this classic obvious evil alien promises something, then turns around and betrays them. It's happened on Torchwood with Greeks bearing gifts. It's happened with Sarah Jane Adventures with the Vault of Secrets. And it's happened on Doctor Who. Now, this, bearing in mind, Doctor Who Reveiw series has been going on for 10 years. And 50 years if you count the classic series. So there's going to be a lot of obvious evil alien portrays them. So, yeah, you can practically see them coming now. And Leandro, yes, he's a cat person who breathes fire. But you could tell he's gonna betray a Shielder. Because, does he look like the sort of alien that would keep his promises? He's just, they could practically write on his face, I'm evil. But yeah, he's basically I shall call him a superhero pilot episode villain. Because that's what he is. And the ending, like, I know it sort of makes sense that she didn't use any of the Maya health chip to save anyone, not even her dad. Chuckles, because there's no one good enough, and the only reason why she used it is to save Sam and close the portal. And to kill Leandro. But, yeah, it's just, this episode, it seems to be like bits clubbed together. Like, I don't know what I'm like. Steve Thompson from Sherlock. He wrote the brilliant season finale, The Reichenbach Fall. Then he goes to Curse of Black Spot and the Journey to the Centre of TARDIS, which, yeah, they're the weakest stories of the series. Yeah, I know Journey to the Centre of TARDIS and Time Heist were improvements over Curse of Black Spot, but I don't see how that happened. Like, same here. The woman who wrote Captain Jack Harkness in Out of Time. The woman who wrote a scene where somebody has to watch his son in a home ill and then break down in front of Jack. Somebody who wrote 4 people from World War II completely out of time in the modern day and seeing what's happened and them coming to grips with new life. And then she writes this. Like, such a backtrack. But, yeah, this episode is sort of like the Girl Who Waited? No. That is a brilliant episode, by the way. But the girl who died. It's okay, but it's either you love it or, well, you don't love it. You could go back to repeat viewings and say, well, I haven't watched this one in a while, let's put it on, like The Caretaker. I usually say, well, I haven't watched that one in a while, let's put it on. It'll be enjoyable. Sort of like that. Not, this is so amazing, or this is terrible, because even this is better than In the Forest of the Night, which is, to be honest, the first episode of Doctor Who ever which I have honestly done what I do for X-Men Origins Wolverine. Pretend that it doesn't exist. Honestly, it's better that way. But overall, I'd give it a 7 out of 10. Like, it's enjoyable, but some of the stuff just shouldn't be there. Like Leandro, he just brings the plot to a standstill. And all he's there for is to essentially attack people and be killed. That's really, the Doctor Who have done another superhero pilot villain. And I feel like that's something that will happen again. Because if Ashilda returns, and yes, I'll be happy for that, if it's sort of she returns, let's have another argument and they'll repeat this, which I hope that doesn't happen. But if they do repeat this, then we'll have another superhero pilot episode villain, like Leandro. But overall, 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10, yeah. I'm not going to add the scores up because this isn't really a 2-parter episode. They're just connected. And it shouldn't really have been one after the other, because we don't really know how much time's passed for the Doctor, which would be useful. Or, well, we know it's several hundred years for Ashilda, but we don't know how much it is for the Doctor. Which probably would have helped to get the idea of perspective. Like, we got it in the 11th hour most times, but this one we didn't. So, next week we have the Zygon Invasion, shown on Halloween. Now, Doctor Who, that's proper Halloween. So, and we're probably gonna... Osgood's alive. Let's hope they're getting an explanation. See you next time.